When I joined the Navy, it was my expectation that I would be top of the line and would join the Navy SEALs and would become who I wanted to become in the Navy, where eventually I reached Admiral and was the head of the U.S. Navy SEALs. And I was doing everything that I wanted to do in the Navy and was heading the Navy and was heading the U.S. Navy SEALs. And this was an honor that only the Commander-in-Chief of the military could attain, as I was the head of every department in SOCOM, the U.S. Navy SEALs, the Special Forces, 20 units in the Marine Corps, as well as 4 units in the Air Force. So I was doing a lot of work as the Commander-in-Chief of the military and the President of the United States to lead the military in adventures and ventures all over the place, because this sort of action demanded training, and I was to train everybody in the military if necessary. And I found that it wasn't necessary for me to train people with the training that they had already from boot camp and buzz training and all the training that they had in SOCOM, which is U.S. Special Operations Command, which is everybody in every elite force in the military, such as the U.S. Navy SEALs and Special Forces, and these 20 units in the Marine Corps and these 4 units in the Air Force. And they consisted of people in the U.S. Navy SEALs and Special Forces, and all of the branches of the military used the U.S. Navy SEALs and the Special Forces in some way. And I found that completely interesting, and it was this kind of situation that led me to believe that I had enough men to establish the means to allow myself to feel completely free and to feel completely competent in establishing the means to take over any situation, any operation, or any mission that I needed to send people on. And I found that to protect myself, I needed the military all over the United States. And I also was able to send the military out to any place I needed them to go to easily. And I accomplished every feat that I wanted to accomplish through, the necessary means of sending the military to war if I still wanted. And me being in the military gave me the edge up to have the gumption and to know what I was doing with the military at all times. And me being in such elite forces in the military also gave me an edge up and allowed me to be in charge of everybody I wanted to be in charge of. And I didn't always have to send out the Navy SEALs or the Special Forces or or these units in the Marine Corps, these units in the Air Force to get the job done, because I had competent people in the military that weren't in SOCOM that were capable of achieving every goal that I set forth to accomplish with my people. And I could just send jets to do whatever I needed them to do all over the world if necessary. And I didn't even have to put boots on the ground to topple a country if I needed to. And, you know, the necessary means of fighting a war, you know, if you really need to just completely annihilate a country, jets do the job. They can just completely destroy a whole country in a matter of minutes. And that's how I wasn't putting my troops or my soldiers in danger if I didn't really need to. And of course, I've sent certain troops into battle and certain soldiers into battle when necessary. But if it's not necessary, if we're just going to destroy a whole country, then jets will do the job efficiently, quickly, and establish every source that we need to go about implementing into my strategy of fighting war all over the world. And of course, we don't go to war with countries all over the world because it's not necessary. You know, we make peace with a lot of countries that are for the United States of America because they're allies with our country and support the United States of America. And we have NATO and the United Nations supporting America in a big way. And NATO and the United Nations consists of people from all over the world that are diligently respectful to the United States of America. And our command allows us to establish a means of dealing with the countries that aren't for America. And we are a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, if you are in another country that is not for the United States of America, I suggest that you become allies with the United States of America so that we're at peace with you, because we don't want to have to implement strategies to deal with your country if you're against us. But if necessary, we will annihilate you and completely destroy your country if you're against our country and try to go to war with us and try to establish any sort of allowance of bringing your military against our country, because we have to. We have to fight you if you're dangerous to the United States of America.